This video today is about recapitulation. I've been asked to make a video about recapitulation and the fan breath that is described in some of Carlos's students' books. I learnt it long before I read Carlos Castaneda. I was shown it as a tool, so I'd like to talk a bit today about what recapitulation is and then do a demonstration of actually the technique, because many people don't know whether they're doing it effectively or whether they read it right, etc, etc. So it's hopefully a bit of a demonstration tool for people to go away and utilise it for themselves. So what does recapitulation actually do? It actually releases attention from any situation, person, can be belief system, emotional attachment, anything in the past that is affecting us now, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. And the recapitulation of erasing personal history gives us the opportunity to go back, experiences that we have had, and basically take the charge or the attention off of those. Because when we recapitulate from this now, we can gain more awareness of the space between the experience that we had, say, as a child, and it allows us greater understanding and another perception, if you like, of actually encountering that experience again as a witness. So we can then see personal patterns. This is specifically if you're actually going to do like erasing your whole personal history. You can start seeing personal patterns of your life that basically you can actually then choose to change. If you don't know patterns and you don't know habits and you don't know why you do things, then this is a really great way of reclaiming that freedom of choice. A lot of people feel stuck. A lot of people feel trauma from their past, and this is a very effective method of re-looking at your life and actually seeing what serves you. So how do we do this? Okay. In Nowelism, in the books, we are told that we have to make a list, and that list is every single person from the present back to the time of birth that we have encountered and exchanged with or interacted with, because interaction obviously leaves attention, it leaves energy behind. Well, this seems rather a daunting prospect for the majority, so much so that people don't even attempt to start, because they cannot even fathom how they would possibly compile such a list. It would take months. Well, formal Nowelist from the book, that shows you the extent to which you can recapitulate. So let's just break that down into chunks, because it does sound rather daunting. If you think that you are 20 or 30 or 40, 50 when you come to doing recapitulation, you're bringing one huge shopping trolley full of stuff to the table, first off. All that experience that you've ever had is on the table to be recapitulated. So I'd like to suggest that, yes, the list way is by far the best way of doing this, but we can break it down into chunks that make it more, shall we say, user friendly or more motivating to be able to achieve something, to feel results as we go along, because that motivates us, right, to keep going. So for both men and women, I would suggest making a list of the ex-partners that you have had. Make a list of those, and do those first. Then I would suggest that you go to places of work that you had, and say school. Anything that was on your CV, you know, as you went to, you know, you did, you worked at this office, and then you did this, and then back and back and back, and you went to school, and then you went to primary school. So, you know, and you could probably remember your teachers, and you can probably remember some of the students, even back nursery, you know, those kind of things. So work back in chunks. And, you know, people can do this for hours and hours and hours. But my suggestion is that you take a little bit each day. Because even if you did 3 situations, people each day, okay, that is 21 people situations in a week. 21 situations people in a week relates to 84 things in 4 weeks. That's a hell of a lot of things that are recapitulated. So little and often, keep going. Try not to think about the big shopping trolley. Try and break it down into chunks of sections that you can recapitulate, sort of, you know, say within a week. Oh, I'm going to do my school time, or I'm going to do my class, or etc., etc. My suggestion is, though, that you don't take on something that has had major influence in your life, specifically traumatic experience, right off the bat, because you may think, yeah, gotta do this trauma work, gotta sort it. But what I'm saying to you is, if you chip away at your personal history, you reclaim more energy to be able to deal with, say, the most influential of your experiences. So I'm not suggesting that you go and recapitulate, say, your mother and your father first. Okay, you would do your superfluous friends, and, you know, small situations with authority, and you know, your school chums, or those who you know you met at work, or whatever, and you create a list from those. When you're recapitulating those, other people may pop in, so you can create a list. As you're lessening your list, so to speak, you know, new situations, new things will pop up. And a journal and a list, you know, one for processing the actual, the whole thing of recapitulation, because it's amazing what comes out when you're writing about your experiences of what you've just recapitulated. It can lead to springboards into all sorts of different directions for awareness that you can either recapitulate or stalk later in other methods. But you can actually create, you can keep your list updated, so you can cross people off and you can add them, people who you've forgotten, etc., etc. There is another way of doing to see where energy may be trapped in your life, in your timeline. Okay, you can recapitulate, say, years 0 to 5, and you can hold that, and you can actually recapitulate that. And if you find a lot of stuff coming up for you, a lot of insight, a lot of perception that there's energy there that's being trapped, then you can go back to that later. But say your childhood was fine. Between 0 and 15 you may not have too much to shift, so therefore you can actually recapitulate on block. And as you're recapitulating those, certain individuals may pop out to you, which you can add to your list in order to recapitulate them further later. So you can only do what you can do in the now, what you are meant to know, and timing, etc., in the now. So some of these people you can recapitulate this time, and then you could recapitulate hundreds of people, and then maybe in 6 months' time this person would pop up again, but probably maybe for a different reason. Okay, people go, oh, well, I've recapitulated that person. Well, yes, but maybe you are clearing at a deeper level, attention at a deeper level. We can only work with the awareness and the power that we have now. So don't be surprised if, you know, you think you've dealt with something, and maybe in 6, 9 months or a couple of years time, you know, the cycle may move again. It's never the same experience, but actually it moves around, and you attempt to pull it apart again, if you like, and take attention away from it again. Regain more awareness from that later down the line. That's cool. But basically it's about emptying that shopping trolley, all on the table, seeing what awareness you can get from your personal history, and utilising that as fresh, usable energy on where to place your attention in the now. Okay, and that can be done on all levels. So Recap's a really great tool for clearing stuff on all levels. It's the most effective tool in my experience for clearing things. So we're going to go into trying to describe what the fan breath is, and then I shall see if I can actually do a section for you so that you can actually go, aha, that's how it's done. Right, so we're going to take a little person here, right, and they're all sitting nicely, but they're facing the board. Okay, so this is the hair at the back. Okay, now there's talk of placing yourself in closets, small spaces. You know, that is actually to create some pressure on your energetic field. Okay, if you've got an energetic field here and you sit in a smaller space, okay, the external environment, shall we say, makes you feel that you're focusing more within. Okay, so it can be more effective. Obviously you need some peace and quiet to gain all this information and to thing like that. So I'm saying it's little and often. If you do a little bit every day, it soon adds up, and you can see that you're making progress, rather than going, right, for the next 6 months, forget my every other day awareness, I have to do my recap. And some people do that. You know, the first time I did recapitulation, I did it formally, I made the list, etc, etc, but you know, it took 4.5 months to do a first sweep, shall we say. So it can take a hell of a lot of time, and you know, in this day and age, you know, we want practical sorcery. We don't really want to necessarily go and be a hermit in the woods somewhere. I mean, that would be nice, but we all have you know, a tonal life as well. So anyhow, so this is a person and they're facing the board. Okay, so this is the right shoulder, and this is the left shoulder. So we're just going to I'm going to put right and left on here, because this will help when you're trying to think, because you won't necessarily be facing this way. Do you get me? So when we're recapitulating, we're going to choose obviously a situation or a person. Let's make it a person, because that's a situation. Okay, and we're going to hold it in our awareness in front of us. So in front of us, you start to go into, or gain awareness of a person that you want to recapitulate. So basically I'm just going to do it like it would be a picture on a wall in front of that person. So we've got a little person behind there. So we've chosen something. We've chosen something to recapitulate. Maybe you'd be seeing yourself in there, or that person looking at you, or a situation that you were in. Okay, say you know, a man with you as the small child, you'd be seeing like a photograph. It's like a photograph. Okay, but that represents that experience with an interaction with that person. So this can flicker as well, because you might have several memories of that person. That's okay. You're just creating a, so we say, a snapshot. A snapshot, and that is the intention and the focus that we are going to recapitulate that today. Okay. So once you've actually chosen, okay, brought it up into your awareness that that's what you're going to do. Okay, you turn your head fully to the right. Okay, so you're turning your head this way. So this is a person, it's this way. So you're turning your head fully to the right, and you're going to imagine a big long rope, big old twisted rope. Okay, big old twisted rope for you too, of energy. This is just energy, whether it be whether you want to see it as one of the grids, whether you want to just see it as a huge long rope. Doesn't really matter. You are focusing your intention on clearing this attention. That's it. So how you're doing this? So what you're doing is you're turning your head to the right. You are visualizing this rope. As you breathe in, you pull the rope fully to your left hand side. Okay, in this direction. So you're breathing in. Right, and as you get to this point, you would have fully breathed in. Okay, so that's the in breath. Okay, when you breathe out, you fan the rope. Like all the little fibres of the rope are frayed at the edges. Okay, and what you're going to do is on the out breath, you are going to sweep it across the picture. So you're going to breathe out, breathe it all the way across the picture, right back to where you were, and then to the centre. Okay? Let's go through that again. You have a rope from your left. You have no breath in you. You turn to your left. As you breathe in, you take it all the way, to the right. You look over your right shoulder, you breathe in all the way across to your left, then you breathe out across the picture, back to the centre again, and on your next breath you turn to the right and you go, you turn it all the way to the left. And then you breathe out. Okay. One more time. Over your right shoulder, you breathe in and sweep. So pulling that energy in. You're pulling that rope in right across your body. So breathe in. And breathe out with the fan. See how that works? I hope that was clear. I shall rewatch it later. But that's basically what you're doing. Now, as you're doing this, and you come back each time to the centre, right, and you keep pulling the energy, it gets quite strong, 2 or 3 breaths in, right, can get really quite, yes, you know, I'm reclaiming the energy, it gets really quite energised, okay, so, you know, so you can go for it, okay, this picture may start shifting, okay, it can be like, You've got the picture, and as you're like I would, you could sweep your hand across the picture. It could get fuzzy, you know, doesn't really matter. Things can pop into your awareness, emotions can pop up into your awareness, but that's not really it's a byproduct of it, okay? So you would be writing those down after you'd finished. What came up for you? That's why like a journal is really handy. Okay, so what came up for you with this particular person? Okay, but what you're mainly doing is doing the practical reclaiming the energy. Okay, so breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Okay, and as this picture changes, so it can get quite tough, you can start feeling stuff as your energy is being pulled back in, because that's your intention. Okay, this can start fluttering, waving, other things can start popping up. Don't worry about that, you're just holding it. More energy. You can do this. Some things take 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 breaths to clear this picture. Okay, that's what you want. This picture is going to be dissipated for you in front of you. Right? Okay, so as the picture dissipates, the breathing gets less. You know, first it gets intense and then it goes down to your body tells you when you've actually recapitulated that particular thing. So sometimes it can take 2 or 3 goes, sometimes it can take 20 breaths. Okay, you just keep going until you just know that your body has actually taken in, reclaimed the energy back from that particular situation. And part of the whole thing of that is that this picture then disappears. Okay, and then you take a break, make your notes, but you should actually feel quite energized. Okay, you may have experienced emotions while you were doing it, you may have even wanted to stop, but keep going, and through that whole experience, you know, you have the awareness of all sorts of things may come up through the breath work. Okay, but the whole idea is that your body has told you that you have, right, and the picture has dissipated, because the two work together. And then basically that would be a recapitulation of that particular person, situation, etc., etc. And then of course you would start all over again with a new one. So I do hope that's clear, and we'll see how that goes. Enjoy recapitulation.